All right, guys, we're back. No introduction needed. He's back with more bikes. Bike game.
Created my character real quick. This is the most. Yeah, you have to start from a new game, so I had to make sure I hit that for when this inevitably is a PB. I'm pretty confident in getting a PB on this.
Is a PB/world record?
Yes, technically.
Oh boy.
Not even technically. There's 2 runs on the board and 1 is mine, and I'm world record, so sick of the blue. Alright. Did I type that wrong? No, I didn't. Alright. So
if you think
start. Time will start when I start the first race series. So we'll scroll over to it. I'm ready whenever you are.
I am too. Let's go.
Alright, so go 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so MTX Supercross percent. This category involves completing all 4 of the Supercross series in this game. Have the Supercross 125, 250 West, 250 East, and 250 Master. But to unlock the 250 series, you have to do the Motocross 125 as well. So that's 5 race series, 24 races in total. The first 4 are all 4 races, and then the last one is 8. There are 16 tracks in this game. You're only going to see 12. I'm already cruising ahead, which is good, so it's not as loud in my headphones. Los Angeles is the first track. This is the one you'll want to get used to because you're going to be seeing it 2 more times after this. So, like I said, 5 series we have to do. And then after the Motocross series, we will get our bike sponsor, and that's when we'll be going faster. These Supercross, not Supercross, the 125s are kind of slow. So we want to get through these as quick as we can. And the reason we do the Supercross series first is because the Motocross tracks are a little bigger, and the jumps are a bit wider, and you get a bike upgrade after this first series, so we want to have that just so we can clear those jumps a little better. As far as maintaining speed in this game, the best thing you can do is, not be in the air. Hit jumps cleanly so you can land kind of like this. Like I'll tilt forward so I'm already facing that way. Helps a little bit. And then, obviously, if you mess up a jump and you end up behind where you would land, then it slows you down. So, yeah, we're cruising through, almost done with LA already for the first time.
So I noticed that your name is Big Silent Laws.
Yeah, I meant to not space that. I was gonna, I initially was going to make it Silent Big Laws to reference Silent and Big Law, and then I realized that's stupid. I should put Big first because Silent actually ends with Laws. And then my jersey name is Packle, and my number is 126. I figured since I had more customization options available in this game, I would show those. I would show my respects to those who came before me in the Tony Hawk scene.
Even though I never touched a bike game in my life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think anyone else has in this, at least for this run, but still. You'll notice as well, I have the names on the screen of the listing. It might look annoying, and it probably is, but I have that for a very specific reason that you will see in the last series. I'll explain it when we get there. Most of these riders are actually, I don't know where the names came from. I don't know if they're developers. I don't know if they're just random names that people made up. But most of these guys are not real. And because of that, they're not that good. The only 2 real riders that are in this series are Kenny Bartram and Davey Millsaps, which you'll see them kind of in the top 3 pretty much the entire time. The creator riders are usually really bad. And then we'll be seeing creator riders all the way until the last series. So this is Phoenix. This track is not one of my favorites. Some of these jumps are a little annoying, but overall not terrible. There are much better tracks coming down the line. Los Angeles is a pretty good one, but I think part of it as well is just this bike's slow and I don't like riding it for long. So, end up this. The other thing you'll see me doing on like some of these turns, I do this to kind of hit up on that top side of it. It just helps maintain my speed a little better as opposed to like cutting the turn and having a handbrake so I can actually get around, because that slows me down a lot. Sometimes these turns are a little harsh, and I'll have to handbrake, but then I slow down. But thankfully for this series, the AI are laughable at best. I won't go as far to say I can do it with my eyes closed, but I could do it with some sort of impairment and probably still get through this series with no issues. Really, these first 4 are not too much of a trouble, but once we get to the Master Series, that's when everything starts to pick up a little bit more. Both will have a faster bike, and then we will have better AI to race against. Not a whole lot to say about this track, aside from trying to hit these jumps well. Again, that's basically what you'll see the entire time, is when I don't have to be in the air, I try to stay as well on the ground as I can. If there's not a big jump, then I will try not to hit it. There's a couple tracks later that'll have a split, so there's 2 paths that you can use. So like, there's either a path that you can take a jump, or there's more jumps on that path, and we'll naturally want to take the one that has less, because it's easier for me and it's faster. Ace, Big Silent Laws is my homage to Big Law and Silent Laws. I spaced it out because I'm an idiot. I meant to have it all together. But yeah, it's all good. See, 35 seconds ahead.
Good lord.
yeah. Like I said, I've been playing this game since, I don't remember when it came out entirely. I want to say 2004. I've been playing it since then.
I had to look it up.
And then I got into speedrunning it a little while ago. I say got into speedrunning it. When I submitted this run for this marathon, I did 1 run of it, so I had a PB available, and then I submitted it. There's not too much variance in these race runs. The only variance is when we get our actual bike that isn't this generic gray one. It's kind of random which one you get. Not kind of, it is random. Basically, at the end, you see at the end of each race, we'll have emails. Most of them are like, oh, hey, like, between races, it's just going to be, hey, this is how you did. You can go on to the next one. And it'll tell you, hey, that you got money and you can buy stuff. Money is irrelevant in this run. It's irrelevant in every run in this game. Money's only good to buy cosmetics. It doesn't actually... it doesn't do you any good. So because of that, we won't be picking up any sponsors either, because to get sponsor money, you have to actually answer those emails and then put their gear on, and that takes time. And I like the black shirt with the blue pants as well. I think it looks nice. Already, this is Denver. Yeah, last one was Phoenix, this one's Denver. I don't know why I get those two mixed up in my head a lot.
Denver, Phoenix, same city.
Yeah, they're they're kind of around the same area.
Yeah, close enough. We'll give it to you.
Yeah. Say Phoenix is the one that's bright. That's how I remember them. This track's not too bad as well. And
So what made you
want
to speedrun this game? Because you enjoyed playing as a kid?
Yeah. Initially, I started with freestyle %, but that category is really lame. It's a nice way to put it. Basically, imagine all of the times that you have to sit and do nothing and thaw and multiply it by about 8. It's really bad. Because...
Why?
So basically how freestyle % works is you start off with a free ride level, which is kind of like, a course that you go around. You have objectives you can do, where it's like, oh, you gotta follow this guy and do tricks, or drive up this hill. And it's more complex than just driving up a hill. There's actual obstacles and stuff to those. And then after that, you'll unlock a freestyle course, which is like the actual events. The goals on those are all the same, it's just a different layout. The first one is always you have to jump through a set of rings, and then the second one is you have to do a list of tricks, and then the third one is your actual scoring. You have to get a score, and you have to get your score so that you'll win. But the problem is that each round is a minute and a half, and you can't skip it, and it's like how the competitions at Tony Hawk works, so it's just best 2 out of 3. And it will also tell you if, like, say you're already in first place at the end of the second heat, it'll tell you, like, points for first need. Like, say you get like a 99 and a 96, so you're at 195. The game will tell you that points for first is 97, but the color on it will be like slightly different. It's like a little bit more blue. And that basically tells you already won. You don't have to do anything. You're just going to sit here for a minute and a half. And then you have to do that across all 4 levels, all 4 freestyle courses. And just the fact that there's 3 heats of each of those, it's like I think the world record's like 44 minutes, which is not actually mine. Somebody else actually got that, and I'm too lazy to go get it back. But it's like a 45 minute run, and about 18 to 20 minutes of it is sitting and doing those minute-and-a-half heats, waiting for the time to go down. So it's not very entertaining, which is why I didn't pick it. That's why I picked Supercross. I could have done Motocross as well, but that category is a little harder. Those tracks are really bad. Well, some of them are good, but there are a couple that it's really dark and they're raining, and you can't really see where you're going. And you know, if I get lucky, I would get through those with no issue. But I figure I'm not gonna punish myself and potentially punish everyone else. So, and we're on to the last race in this series, which is Minneapolis. This track is whatever. I don't mind it too much. There's a couple big jumps that if you miss them, you have to waste time trying to get over the hump. I almost took that guy out, landed on his head, even though he would have been completely fine. I'm not, though. I crashed. That's kind of the problem as well, is hitting. If you hit the jump the wrong way, you'll fall off the bike, which you don't want to do. As you can see, I've not started this one very well, and I'm still keeping up very well. That's one thing you'll notice, these little bump sections. Apparently there are a bunch of street racers outside. I don't know if you guys can hear that. It's throwing me off. But those little sections with the bumps, they're called whoops sections. That's a terminology I learned from this game. How you're supposed to hit those, you're supposed to just lean back when you're driving on them. But the AI in this don't do that. So if you're already a few seconds ahead and you pass that, then you'll end up even further. Yeah, I don't know what it is about the area I'm in, but like the street that I live on, for some reason people decide they just want to go as fast as they can down it, even though there's a stop sign like 100 feet away from me.
Do you have no speed bumps or anything?
Not on the street that I'm on now.
Yeah, my old place had that. It was like people just like to fly around the corner, and it's like I think one of them eventually got into a wreck, like right up the street from me. I'm like,
yeah, it's like, you know, I think a lot of
why?
it's just people being young and ignorant, and like, oh hey, I have a car and I can go fast, and it's like, yeah, don't do that. that's my
young people.
Yeah, that's my advice to anybody who is younger and getting your license. Don't drive fast all the time. Don't be that way. You don't have to. Just accommodate yourself, give yourself more time to get where you're going, and you don't have to worry about it. Because you know, everyone's been young and dumb and done stupid stuff in a car, but you know, you're not helping yourself out. Anyway, back to the game. That's enough of that PSA.
Yeah, that's cars. This is about bikes.
Yeah, which I can't speak much on actually riding these. I've never ridden one of these in my life, but
Same.
as far as in the game, you know, it seems pretty simple. And I mean, I would assume it's like riding a bicycle just without having to pedal, and you know, an engine. So not entirely a bicycle, but you know,
And you can go in heavy mud and still drive easily.
It's a bicycle with a couple extra steps. So that jump specifically is kind of annoying. On some of these, you see the bar that's right next to where my miles per hour is. Basically, if you fill that up, you'll hold A or whatever button you have for it. It'll give you a little bit of a boost off the jumps. Some of them you kind of have to use it, but I'm not going to be using it for some of these because, like I said, you want to stay on the ground as much as you can. And it doesn't help being in the air the whole time, but like this one, I'll do it a little bit just so I can make sure I clear that. Because for some reason they put like 3 little bumps all in the same place, and they want you to jump over all of them. Because even though there's like one in the middle that you could ride on, it doesn't work that well. I thought I was going to go off the track. That's actually off the track. That's a good thing to bring up because that's the reason why this run is an hour and a half and not faster. This game is very restrictive with you going off the course and not following the path. It will reset you very quickly. There is no real variance to these courses, unfortunately. I wish there was. I wish there was a way to break out of those barriers. You'll see it later.
I'm assuming you've tried.
Yes, I've tried multiple places. You'll see later on a track, it starts off and there's a split that leads to like where the actual, like there's that white line that's like the whole shot line. You get extra money if you get that. It doesn't really help anything. But like there's a split that leads to that. But there's enough space where if you didn't have those out of bounds triggers holding you back, then you could jump through them and like jump past it. But anyway, so that's the end of Supercross 125. Now we're on motocross, and we got our 4-stroke bike. It says it's a 250, and we're running in a 125. That can just be a secret between us. Nobody needs to know that we're cheating.
What? Cheating?
Yeah, it's. We answered the email about our bike, and we have it's a 250 in a 125 series, but nobody decided to stop us. But yeah,
Man, that's why we have organizations that check all that stuff out.
Oh,
You never know when someone's gonna be cheating.
Oh, don't worry. If I get the right bike later, then it's gonna be even worse. But I'll explain it when we get there. So yeah, this is Paradise Valley. I don't really care for this track. I ultimately don't care for a lot of the motocross tracks. I've always enjoyed the Supercross ones more. It's part of the reason why I picked Supercross percent over motocross percent, because when I was younger, I would run these tracks to 9 laps because that was the most you could do, and I would end up like 2 laps ahead of the AI by the time I was done. Like I said, I wouldn't say I've mastered this game, but I've played it more than enough to where I feel confident enough to play it for a marathon like this. And thankfully, when I did a test run last weekend on stream, and I ended up getting the bad RNG for my bike, and I got the slowest one out of the ones that you can get at the end of this series, and I still managed a PB, so I think we will be okay no matter what. The only thing that I have to keep my eye out for is all of the upgrade messages, because if you miss an upgrade, then it's kind of game over. But thankfully, they're all pretty easy to find, because a lot of the sponsorship emails will be like, "Oh, come sign with us," and then for the bike upgrades, it's like, you need to see this. So naturally, you're gonna click on that one first. A couple of the other emails that come up, it's like there's some article that they want you to read to tell you how great you are, but I don't need to do that. I have a big enough ego as it is, so I just skip past those. I don't need the game to tell me how good I am. Travis Pastrana
You're
will...
beating everyone by like 60 seconds. Of course you know you're good.
Yeah. And then Travis Pastrana will also message you. Who, fun fact, if you didn't know, this game initially was going to be titled Travis Pastrana's Pro Motocross, but because it was in the same vein as all the other O2 games, but I don't know what actually happened to O2. I never found that out, but this game came out after that, like after they dissolved or whatever. So they changed the title to MTX Mototrax, which honestly I kind of like the sound of Travis Pastrana's Pro Motocross more, but it's too late now. No, it's only 18 years too late for that. Oh, just staff fired into the sun. I also see Nace is in the chat. I was gonna stay up and watch your run because it was at like midnight, and I fell asleep at like 10:30, so I kind of missed it. Ace did Pro Skater 4 at, I don't know what, did PAX Australia?
Yeah, PAX Australia.
Yeah. I'll have to watch it when I get the chance. Which I say that, I still haven't watched Profite's Beginner No Warp Run from the last Australian Speedrun Marathon they did. So I'm really bad when I remind myself to do that. But thankfully, we are almost done with Paradise Valley. These races, since the courses are a little longer, they're only 2 laps as opposed to 3. And now, this is the track, if you played Thug 1, you remember. This is McKenna Rock. So, Thug 1, you'd go into the options menu, and you'd see the MTX Mototrax demo. You're like, oh, hey, what's that? And you would be on this track as Travis Pastrana. Which, I haven't played that demo in a long time, because I don't have a PS2 copy of Thug 1 anymore. But, you know, I'm probably, if you if you weren't already having a memory unlocked with me playing this game, you're gonna have one now if you play that demo. So,
What if you played on the GameCube version?
this game never came out on the GameCube.
Really?
Yeah, this game was PS2, Xbox, and PC.
Man, I had GameCube.
GameCube, missed it. And I thought the demo was on the Xbox version. I haven't checked it, but somebody told me it's just a trailer, which I think is strange. I don't remember playing it, if I played it on the Xbox version or not. So we'll just go with... I don't remember who told me that anyway.
Man, they had exclusivity deals back then. Jesus.
Yeah. It's been going on since forever. You know. Thought Call of Duty was the first ones to do that back in the day. Nope. MTX Mototrax. Yeah. This is probably my favorite motocross track out of the 8. Which isn't too hard since about 5 of them I don't enjoy. So. Hit this jump. Sometimes you can just hit that platform, but that's slow. We go back around, I will, because at the end of every race, you won't really notice it, but it'll do a thing at the end of the race where your rider will just be going around, like, clapping his hands and turning. Like, he'll be celebrating that he won, but he'll be turning without touching the handlebars. You know, why we can't use that wizardry during the race, I don't know, but... So, at the end of every race, I'm basically, as soon as I can, after crossing the finish line, I'll be mashing A so I can get to the, like, the distribution of the points, which, for each of these races, since I forgot to bring it up, if you win, you'll get 10 points, second gets you 7, third gets you 4, fourth gets you 2, fifth gets you 1, and if you're in the bottom 3, then you don't get anything. And since we're going to win all these early races anyway, it doesn't really matter. That'll matter more when we get to the Master Series, which it's kind of what all of these races really build up to, is just getting to run the Master Series. Since the Master Series is all 8 Supercross tracks, back to back to back to back, back to back to back. I think that was 8. I don't. That's McKenna Rock. Been on to Pacific Hills, I believe this one's called. I always forget the name of it. Pacific something. We'll go with Hills, that sounds right. It has a rough jump off the start here that I don't like. Right there, it's kind of hard to hit that when you're coming off of the beginning of the race. And these first jumps are all kind of rough on this track. Especially on the slower bikes like this. Thankfully the AI will clear them, but then I'll clear them in a second, so it doesn't matter. About to get hit in the head. I'm good. Thankfully, the helmet I'm wearing seems to be made out of diamonds because it doesn't get hurt by anything, and it doesn't hurt my head when I get landed on. But the AI will try to scuff you and just hop on the back tire that you have, and it's not fun. I had that happen in my last run as well. The AI knocked me back to 6th during the Master Series, and I had to actually play the game well to get back. But and this is part of the reason why I don't like the motocross tracks, because this one's too close for me. I've been dominating every other race to this point, but I'm only 2 seconds ahead right now. It's a bunch of nonsense is what it is. I should be much further ahead, but for some reason the AI run this better than I do. It is what it is. These turns I hate because I feel like I have to hit the handbrake there, even though I probably don't. Hit this, got it that time, thankfully. And thankfully I didn't crash either, because for some reason it happened in Minneapolis where you'll hit these jumps and the game decides that you landed just a little too hard and it'll crash you. But that's only really because, like, when I'm pointing towards the ground, like, I'll sometimes just nosedive into the ground and that's what causes it. So I kind of understand it, but there's some times where it doesn't happen and it doesn't make sense. But there's a lot of things in this game that don't make sense. If I took the time to explain them all, we'd be here for longer than I'm allowed to be. If you want to hear me talk about it, then you come ask me another time. I mean, I can go into I'll give you my CinemaSins rendition.
Coop.
I'll give you my CinemaSins rendition of everything wrong with MTX Mototrax.
Oh man.
I've kind of considered it a joke making a video like that for Thug 1, but I'm lazy and don't commit to anything that well, so. The most I've committed was committing to counting all the Street Warriors earlier.
Which you're legendary for that.
Yeah. See, I went to like 4, and then I noticed there was a counter. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop counting then, because I'm gonna fill the chat up with it. And then Joe was like, oh, you should keep counting. I was like, well, you know, we all love and respect Joe, so I'm gonna listen to him. This is Pacific Hills, done. I almost hit that pole. That would have been funny. Now we're on to...
Retrospective is that Thug 2 sucks. That's the retrospective.
And now we're on to Devil's Gate, which sucks. I hate this track. And basically all the motocross tracks after it, which we thankfully don't have to do. There are a couple jumps in here that are terrible, at best. Those will be coming up in a minute. Thankfully, I should still be ahead decently well. This is one. That little hump right there that I just went over. Sometimes your back tire will just catch onto that if you hit it the wrong way. And then up here, you basically have to ride that on the right side so you'll hit that. And like, it feels like you should be able to clear some of these, but you just don't have the speed or the space, or the game just decided, yeah, this ramp's a little too big for that. This jump isn't terrible, but this one coming up is, because you slow down like a lot for some reason. I guess it's like a 45-degree angle or worse. Just completely slows you down on all of these ups. That one went better than it normally does, but I'm not complaining. And at least, thankfully, when I struggle with the jumps on this one, the AI does too, but we can get in. There's some fun stuff with that later. If I end up behind on a certain track, then you might get to see that. Because there are some points that, like, you know, at this point the AI are just slow, and they're not that great. But when they get better, there are some tracks that make you forget that they're better, which we'll be seeing soon. Somehow made that I thought I wasn't going to. That's the other part with this track. It's just too bumpy for me. There's too many bumps going on. Like, I feel like I'm not able to stay on the ground very well. But it is what it is. Thankfully, we're about halfway through this lap. So we're almost done with Devil's Gate, not Pacific Hills. That was the last track. And then we'll be done with motocross. And we'll be getting back to Supercross races, which is why you're all here. That and McKenna Rock, I'm sure, but unfortunately, we don't get to see that track anymore. We could have if I decided to swallow my pride in new motocross percent, but I didn't, so you get it one time. Like spitting out there. See the light? It's right there. And we're done with that. So this is the first one we have to hit, and we got the slow bike again, like I did last time. Yay! So I'm performing pretty close. I got Kawasaki, which is the slowest of the 5 brands you get. I don't know entirely how the order goes. I've heard multiple like renditions of it, but what I know for certain is that Kawasaki is the slowest, and then it's Suzuki, which is the yellow bikes. Then it's Red, which is, I believe, supposed to be Honda. And then
so essentially, if you wanted to go for like an optimized record, you'd have to go for 27-ish minutes.
Yeah.
And go for a RNG.
And then hope that you'll get the good one. Yeah, this category is unoptimized. Namely because, as far as I know, there's no RNG manipulation to pick which one you'd get, because if I could, I would go for Yamaha every time, which is blue, which I've heard that's the fastest, and I've heard orange is the fastest. Orange seems to be the most common one, but because this game decided I'm not allowed to have what I want, it gave me Kawasaki. So if you have... this is the main drawback of Kawasaki compared to the others. I think Suzuki has the same problem. If you notice when I was selecting this bike, there are 4 bike slots. There's the first two that are the 125s, and then there's the 250s. On orange, Yamaha, and red, they have their fourth bike option, which is, I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be some sort of like experimental super bike from a playthrough I watched that said that. But basically, that bike's a 450cc in a 250 series, which again you're allowed to use. But you know, I got Kawasaki, so we're running this out. You can change teams throughout the game. At the end of every series from this point on, it'll say, "Hey, come race for our team." It'll come, and you can switch. But the problem is, when you switch teams, you'll lose all your bike upgrades that you get. So what you basically have to do is just run with whatever you get. And it's not it's not that hard to run with, thankfully. And while I was talking,
is it a lot of time lost, or is it just like
it's like a couple seconds here and there, really. The reason why my last run on this bike PB'd as opposed to my first one when I got orange was just because I played a little better on that one.
okay? So it's not like
It's not a total loss, but
essential.
if you were going like super hard on trying to get a really good time, then you would have to reset after that, after getting a really bad one. But like I said, there's only 2 runs on this board. MTX Mototrax itself has only 6 people across 4 categories. One of them is 100%, which has not been done yet. Which I'm probably never going to do because that sounds terrible. But Rocker has said he would do it. He said he would at some point. He was going to commentate with me today, but he said he wasn't feeling too well. I asked him the other day, I was talking to him, he said he wasn't feeling too well, so unfortunately he was not able to make it. Don't worry, I'm going to PB this one for you, Rocker. At least I'll try to. I think I might have played a little bit too sketchy at the beginning.
Well, what did 100% entail? Like doing
100% is all of the race series, so like how I'm doing the Supercross now, which by the way is Supercross West, by the way, 250 West. I didn't really bring that up. It's all the race series, so the 4 Supercross series, 4 Motocross series, going to the free ride levels and completing all the goals. How the free ride levels work, it's kind of weird. You have this little thing at the bottom of like your speed. It's called MTXP, which I'm assuming is motocross points. You have to get 50,000 to move on to the next freestyle course. And you get them from, like, you can do tricks and get them, but you get like 100 each time, which is not optimal, and then you lose some if you repeat tricks. When you do a mission, you get 10,000. Like the actual, like, oh hey, like there's one in the first level, like, oh, do a wheelie around this bus, or, you know, like the hill climbs or stuff like that. So you have to do all those goals. Some of them are really annoying. There's one in the last free ride level that you have to do a wheelie down in the entirety of a train track, which is terrible because the train will come towards you and you have to try to avoid it. And there's not a great way to turn on the train tracks because there's not much space to turn, and turning while doing a wheelie is rough. And there's also one in that same level where you basically have this long ramp that you'll drive down to hit a jump, and there's 3 like holes in trees. Well, there's 2 trees that have like a big hole in them you have to land in. Then the last one you have to go back through that first hole that you jumped through into a cave hole, and it's really not easy to do. Which in freestyle percent is actually part of the route, and I hate it because that mission is really annoying. Yeah, it's just some of the stuff, like those are some of the harder ones. There's some that are just time consuming. You know, like it'll be like, oh, you gotta just sit here for a minute and beat this score, which is like the first one on the first free ride's like 10,000, which, you know, that's super easy. The last one on the last free ride is 150,000, which by that point is super easy because as you go, you unlock more tricks, and so you'll get like the 2 tricks that you'll get the most points from are the backflip and the Greg's flip varial, which is basically a backflip, but instead of the bike turning, you turn, like your guy jumps off the seat and does a backflip and somehow lands on it. I don't understand how, but you know. And then you get like extra variants of those where you can just double tap the button and you'll get more points out of it. There's also some weird inputs. There's some tricks that you'll get where, like, if you want to do a 360, you have to do up, down, B, which is the backflip input. And then while you're going off the ramp, you have to input it as you're going up the ramp. And then as you go off, you have to hit left, so you'll actually do the 360, and it doesn't work ever. I hate it. But So all the free ride stuff you have to do, which is basically all the goals, and then there's some that's like, oh, you gotta jump 200 feet or wheelie this certain distance, which those aren't too bad, and you can just do those as you go. They're available in the actual, like, just riding around. They're not specific missions. And then there's the freestyle that has the aforementioned 1.5-minute heats that you have to do 12 of. And then those all have an extra goal that aren't required after that point, but you have to do. There's also, I forgot it, but every free ride level has 5 secret tricks you have to unlock. Like, you'll go off a jump and it'll give you a trick input to do, and if you do that, then you'll unlock a trick. Some of them are a bit annoying, like the aforementioned 360. So, like, overall, it doesn't sound like a whole lot, but it just takes a while. If I haven't bothered trying to route it out or giving it much thought, but if I'm correct on it, it would probably take, at the minimum, 4 hours to do.
Oh my god.
Probably more than
I guess
that.
I mean, not forever, I guess, or 100%.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, like, you know, like Thug 100% is like an hour 20 something. Thug 2, you know, or Pro Skater 400% is like 2.5. No, Thug 2 I think is around 2 something. But then there's other games like GTA San Andreas is like 12 hours for 100%, or like the GTA games in general just have long 100%s. This one's kind of in between those. But again, it's something that I just wouldn't want to do because it's a little bit tedious. Yeah. Cruising along. We're in Phoenix again. We're still kind of blowing out the competition. But thankfully after this one we'll actually see a new track, which will be San Francisco. I forgot which one it was. Which is not my favorite Supercross track, but thankfully that's only one that we have to do twice. Which I guess that's one of like the only gripes I could give as far as these races go, is like, since there's only 8 Supercross tracks, but there's 16 races across, or 20 across those series, because there's 3 4-race series and then the Master, which is 8. You end up seeing the same tracks a lot. But like how the game would intend you to do it is like, okay, you'll do like the free ride and the freestyle stuff, then you'll go do the 125 racing series, then you'll go back and do that free ride freestyle stuff and just kind of alternate. It doesn't really seem like it was intended for you to just go with the racing series first, because these tracks do start to get repetitive after a while, as well as the fact that I've been playing this game so long and I know these tracks like the back of my hand. At least some of them I still struggle with, but thankfully we're almost done with Phoenix. We're over, I was gonna say, we should be, at least as far as races, I think we're like halfway done with the actual total amount of races. No, that's after this series. So we have one more and then we'll be halfway. Which thankfully, since we're not doing motocross, halfway is a good mark. Halfway will be more than halfway through the actual timer, but you know. This is San Francisco. This track has a couple jumps that I hate, and that's much I can say about it. There's also these little bumps on these straightaways here that are really annoying because they don't want you to speed up. Also, there's that Nokia blimp up there. A giant bottle of Sobe, which I've never drank, but I've heard it's not that good. You know, this game does a really good job at reminding you how old it is because of the Nokia blimp. Your emails come in on a PDA. Yeah, this game does
most of the Tony games do that too, let's be honest.
Yeah, these games love to remind you how old they are. Like, because, like, you know, Thaw has like the Nokia phone.
Thug 2 had Singular.
Oh man, I haven't heard that in forever.
Right.
That,
well, they get about, did they get about like Sprint or something?
I think it was either Sprint or AT&T. I'm not sure on that front. I've had the same carrier since like 8th grade, so you know. Which for me was like 10 years ago, I think. Yeah, I'm trying to think about how old I am. And I'm stuck on a thing. That's nice. Did I mention I'm not a fan of this track? Because I think I did. A lot of these jumps lead into turns that are just rough. Also, starting to feel less confident about my PB because I've crashed it a lot. I've had a lot of mistakes. But I'm gonna iron it out. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm just setting myself up to do really well later. That's all it is.
You're just sandbagging now, trying to be like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose it.
I gotta keep the suspense for everyone.
What is your PB?
125.16. On the board, it's still a 125.21, but.
Oh, so you got a small PB last time.
Yeah, and I didn't submit it because I wanted to wait till after this was done to see if I happened to PB. Which we'll see. Oh, I thought we were on the 3rd lap already. Fortunately, we're not. Thankfully, we get to the.
But.
So thankfully, we're nearing the end of this track. We're halfway through this one, and then we get to some better Supercross tracks in the next series, including my favorite one, which I will probably speak the entire time about how much I actually enjoy that track. But anyway, what were you gonna say?
How low do you think this can go? Sub 120 or what? Sub 122 or 23 or?
I would say maybe like it really depends. Right now, like it would just come down to hitting everything. Like I think if I did everything perfectly, I could maybe do like a 121, maybe a 120. Which that would have to be like hitting all these tracks perfectly, which I don't. Basically, these tracks is just kind of me remembering from playing it so much throughout my life. I'm sure that some of these paths are not as optimal as they could be, but even then, there's different variables that come into play that prevent that, and of course, getting a slower bike doesn't help either. But if something bigger was to be found, like if something was found where like you could get through the out of bounds barriers, and it turns into Mario Kart, where you could just like get back to the starting line really quick, then there's no telling at that point.
Oh, wait. Like this Mario Kart in terms of toxicity, doing ILs or whatever.
I mean, it would make some of these tracks more bearable, not having to do them. But it'd also be a lot shorter now that I think about it. It'd probably be if that was possible and you could hit like in a perfect world, this run's like 30 minutes long if you find those types of out of bounds. But we're done with 250 West. We got our bike upgrade there, and now we're on to 250 East. So we have to do.
Can I see a T-pose for a second there?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
So now we're into 250 East, and I just realized that we didn't get to see my favorite my favorite non-real rider. His name is Chuck Peters, and I think it's funny because I'm, my maturity level is that of a 12-year-old. But fortunately, no Chuck Peters in this run. Maybe next time. And now there's more real riders as well. There's only 2 made-up ones now, but they're not going to be doing too much to me yet. Like I said, we'll be saving the actual racing for the Master Series. This is basically just me trying to get through these as fast as I can. So thankfully, Minneapolis isn't too bad. Almost went off the track completely there. And that was a nice little sound bug. When I went in the air, it still was acting like I was completely on the ground. Because much like the Tony Hawk games on PC, this game loves to have a lot of issues with its sound sometimes. Which, not sure how loud it is on the stream. I try to make it bearable, but it's a lot louder in my headset. And it's kind of annoying.
Honestly, this sounds like a buzzing noise.
Yeah, that's what Hecky told me. We were setting up. It just sounded like a bunch of bees. Yeah, it's one of those things
we try our best to do audio tests, Euro.
Yeah,
but yeah, it just bees going the entire time.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things. I think it's more something I noticed just from playing it a lot. Like if you're just kind of listening along, you probably wouldn't notice it. But as I've said for probably the 12,000th time this run, I've played this game a lot, so I noticed that. But yeah, I think that's the point of doing this in a marathon and actually doing a speed run is that I've played this game a lot. And generally, you would want to speed run something you'd play a lot. At least I would assume. So this is also the only non-Tony Hawk game I run that I still play a lot. So it's
what else is there to run? It was Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk is life.
Tony Hawk and anything like can be loosely related to it.
Like Kelly Slater's pro surf. Was it surfboard for her? I don't remember.
Pro Surfer, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Pro Surfer.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many of those games there actually were. Like until I was watching a video about this game, and it was talking about like all of the different like O2 games around. I didn't realize how many different ones they had, even though most of them did.
They churned them out really quick.
Yeah, but most of them only did. The only other one I could think of that has a sequel is Matt Hoffman, unless the others did, and I just haven't heard about them.
Because Matt Hoffman is literally just Tony Hawk, but
yeah, he's the BMX Tony Hawk.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, the goals and layouts are very similar.
Yeah, I haven't played that game yet, which you guys stay tuned.
That's coming up after this run, by the way.
There's a Matt Hoffman run after this one. So we'll get to all check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I haven't. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to the rest of the marathon as well. A lot of great runs from great people playing great games.
That's all ends off with Dessa.
Yeah.
Well, would have been.
Well, would have been. Yeah. All right. So now, new track. We are coming a little closer to my neck of the woods with St. Louis. Wow, I managed to hit the gate there without actually hitting it. How these tracks start off is that there's like a 2 to 5 second like pause, like after that little board thing turns, and then the gate drops. But like obviously, if you hit it as soon as that gate drops and you can move, like as soon as the board goes away and you hit your gas and the gate doesn't drop, then you're just gonna bump into it. So I just try to wait because it's not very fast to hit the, like you'll hit the gate and it'll just bounce you back and then it'll open right after it because it knows you hit it, so everyone will just start speeding off. I mean, that's like a couple seconds each track off of that, but for another thing that's just kind of out of your control. As I think about it more, there are a lot of things in this game that are not in your control. But great jump here. St. Louis is kind of on the shorter side as far as some of these. Like, it feels like they made Los Angeles to be a really short Supercross track, and then the others they wanted to stretch out a little longer. But this one, St. Louis doesn't feel too bad. And also kind of, it's not too dark in here, thankfully, even though they have like the roof closed in for this one. Neat. And I've also heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that this track isn't even actually like based on the St. Louis track that existed back when this game came out. I don't know how true that is. It might just be a rumor, but like this is some other track from somewhere else in the United States, but they just assigned it to St. Louis. That could just be, you know, somebody makes something up. I'm not sure.
Have you actually seen like an IRL race before?
I mean, I've watched them on TV. I've never actually been to any of these races though.
I can't imagine it being super expensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
I don't never hear anything about it, so I'm not sure how popular they are.
Yeah. There's always one of those things like, I don't even know what channel I was watching them on. It'd be like, there's like one of those things that would be on like ESPN 3.
Oh yeah, they'll like show like random bowling and then
yeah, like or if
cross
it's or if it's going really bad, it's on ESPN 8 The Ocho.
Oh no, I forgot about that one.
I should stop there because I'm gonna start quoting that movie for the rest of the run. Some of those quotes I probably should not say on stream because you know they haven't aged well. Great movie though. Aside from that. If you don't know what movie I'm talking about, then I feel sorry for you. It's Dodgeball, if you're curious. But back to motocross, because, you know, that's what we're doing.
They're bikes.
Yeah. I'm getting getting really good at getting off topic, but
I mean, there's not a whole lot of tech over here. So.
yeah, that's what I was the thing I feared when I submitted this. I was like, there's gonna be a lot of points where I'm just kind of just talking about random stuff. But anyway,
it's fine.
So now we're in Daytona, which is this track is not too bad. It's a little rough at certain aspects. And this is the track I was talking about where the AI tend to have some issues with it. You will see that in a minute. We also get our first split out of 3 in this game, in this category at least. That's not good. So this right here, this little like section here, can't really turn in the air very well. So they decided to put those little bumps there so that you could struggle with turning. But thankfully, it's not just you who has that issue, or me. It's the AI that has the problem. Thankfully, that one decided to bump me and help me. And we're on.
Love tap.
Yeah. And we're on to our.
Realizing you're in a marathon, you want to help out.
Yeah. And now we're on our second split, which I hit that ramp a little too hard. This is the path that is a little bit easier to ride than the other one. The left path has like more jumps, but they're easier to clear. The right one has less, but they're longer. So naturally, you would think you'd want to hit the less jumps, but it's actually more it's better to hit the smaller jumps so that you can stay on the ground more, as opposed to having to just hit the big one and then you're sitting in the air for 12 seconds waiting to hit the ground again. And then that's also the reason why we're not taking that left path here, because there's a lot of bumps there, and instead we can just hit that whoops section and get through it with no issue, which if you're holding back, you don't lose any speed on those. You'll lose like a couple miles per hour, but it's not too bad. And these jumps are kind of rough sometimes, like that. Your back tire will hit and you'll start to like fly over your handlebars. So this track's not too bad. I remember struggling with it a lot more when I was younger, but not too bad in my older and I could say wiser state. I played the first one, Hecky. I actually enjoyed that game. It's they made like 3 or 4 sequels at this point that I didn't even know about until like the other day, but that game's just a little too realistic for me. Like, I don't like playing racing games that are like that realistic, where I'm having to like actually account for what I'm doing. Like, I like playing the racing games that I can be kind of an idiot and just waste my time. Like, you know, not waste my time, but like waste my brain power and not have to actually think about it. But thankfully this game I don't have to think too much. Just kind of do. Actually hit that jump pretty well. I can't see if the AI are actually struggling back there. I don't really look at like the bottom left where the actual track is displayed, but we're almost done with Daytona, and then we're moving on to the last race of this series. Is Atlanta, which I really like, and I will be talking about it the entire time. Maybe not the entire time. At least a lap I will dedicate to talking about how much I like Atlanta.
I guess before you do that, we get this donation in.
Go right ahead.
We got a $20 donation from PDK. That says, boof, boof, boof.
It's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Is that? Oh, I guess that's the bike. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So this is Atlanta. This is what I was talking about. The split off the start. The whole shot line and the rest of the track is basically just right here. So if you could just hit that little bump there and just shoot over this, that would save you like 10 seconds every lap. But because the game doesn't allow you to have fun, you don't get to do that. And thankfully this one doesn't have any like huge jumps. It has like a couple that you have to put a little bit into. But generally a lot of being able to stay on the ground and just kind of cruise through it. This was always the track that I would smash the AI by like 2 laps on when I played it. I would put it on 9 laps. See, like a lot of these jumps are not in the air for too long, even though they look a little long. And this was actually when I realized that staying on the ground is faster than going in the air, because right here, there's that jump across this whoops section, which initially, since those slow you down a tiny bit, you would think it'd be faster to jump over them, but it's not. Mess that up a little bit. It's going a little too fast. This ending section is probably the worst part of this track, but it happens. Can't read what that says. Right. Well, yes, but that Street Warriors is like 35 seconds each lap. 35 to 40 seconds each time. All of these laps are over a minute. So, hell, I'd do 160 laps of this. I'm gonna have an issue with it. I would just have to start the race every time after 9. And it's 161, Hecky, because you did that one during the all-vehicle missions race. And technically, if you want to count Finesse's run of it too, then it's 162 Street Warriors. I did not expect 160. I kept going. Hecky just kept going. I'm like, all right, he'll probably stop at this point. And he just kept going. You know. I think the longest race I've ever actually done, I don't know why I did it, but I used to have, I think I still have a copy of it somewhere, NASCAR Heat 3, which I bought that game out of spite. Not for the game, but small story, basically. It was Christmas one year, and my family would always do, like, we'd do White Elephant with gift cards. Since, people would complain they got something they didn't want. So we would just do gift cards. And everybody wanted the Amazon one. And I took it. I was the one who got it. I was like, what's the dumbest thing I can buy with a $25 Amazon gift card? And I looked on Amazon, and an extra $4 later, I bought a copy of NASCAR Heat 3. Which I played for probably 5 hours total. And a good 3.5 of that was me having to play an actual 200-lap race because there is an achievement for it on Xbox. So I was like, I might as well get something out of it. And that lap, 200 laps going left every time is a lot more boring than Street Warriors, That's how far ahead I am, because it'll show, like, the split on the lead section when the AI hit it, like when second place will hit split. And I'm almost done with this lap already. This is how well this is, it's how well this one's going. Like I said, I enjoy this track a lot. I'm a minute 13 ahead. Like, if there was another lap, I would start lapping people, but fortunately not. This is the end of Atlanta, and we are moving on to the Master Series now. This is the one I need. Yep. Alright. So, 250 Master. So every track that you just saw, you're going to see it again. Except the AI are much better. They're actually going to be competing with me a little bit. And this is the point why I have the names up on the left side. Because the AI like to stay in a very specific order during this series. Ezra Lusk and Chad Reed are the two guys that you will see in second and third a lot. Because even though this game is kind of all about Travis Pastrana, they decided, nah, he's pretty good at fourth place. So you'll see him pretty consistently in fourth. And then Ernesto, I don't know how to say his last name, Fonseca, I believe, will usually be in around fifth. And then Mike Brown, Tim Ferry, and Jamie Dobb will stay in the bottom three almost exclusively. So the reason why I keep the names up is to just kind of keep track of where Ezra Lusk and Chad Reed are. Because there are the chances that, if one of them keeps getting second every time, they're just going to get 7 points every time. And since there's 10 races, or not 10 races, there's 8 races, if one of them keeps getting second, then I have to kind of account for that a little more. And get out of my way, dude. This dude loves to fucking troll you and get in my way. So basically, I keep the names up so I can kind of keep track of the AI while I'm doing the race. And then at the end of every race, I pay a little bit more attention to when it actually distributes the points. Because the one thing with this game is that if you don't finish first, you still have to finish the race for it to finish. So, like, if I end up, like, slipping, making a couple mistakes, and I end up in second or third, I'm still going to have to run the entire race. Even if, like, say I end up really screwing up and I'm super far behind, then that's going to be a little bit rough. But thankfully, Los Angeles is one of those tracks that I feel like is pretty easy to get every time. There's a couple like that. Los Angeles is like that. Phoenix is like that, kind of. Denver's like that. Minneapolis. Atlanta's one that I'm going to win pretty much every time. Actually lucked out with Travis getting third place there. Now, hopefully, Ezra Lusk will get third or fourth on this race, because that will put him a little further behind. Because even though I'm getting 10 points on every race, and, you know, I'll be consistently gaining on him, like, you know, after this, it'll be like 20 and 14, and 30 and 21. If I'm able, like, if they're able to alternate places every race, then that allows me to play a little bit looser on the end, which is nice, so I don't have to feel like I'm actually racing. Like I said, as you can see, like, the AI are doing much better at actually sticking with me this time. Like, I only won LA by like 4 seconds, as opposed to winning Atlanta by over a minute. So, this is when it really starts to pick up. And of course, on the Kawasaki, it's a slower bike, so you have to account for that as well. If you had one of the faster ones, it's a little easier, but you still kind of have to account for making mistakes, because the AI will definitely capitalize on that. You know, the AI in the Master Series will hit jumps much better than they were before. They actually hold back when they hit the whoops. So you actually have to play the game at this point. Like, the first hour of this run was just the first hour of this run was just kind of you getting comfortable with these tracks for this point. So, thankfully Chad's in second right now. Hopefully it stays that way. Because then he... No, not Chad Muska. I am a huge fan, though, of Chad Muska. No, Chad Reed, who I significantly less likable based on the context of the games. Just because, you know, he's always in the top 3, so you have to account for that. As you can see, like, the bottom 3 are just so far behind. Like, it's very rare that any of them in the bottom 3 get a point across all 8 races. Like, I feel like it would have made more sense for them to just make all of them kind of the same difficulty level. But it seems like they kind of spaced out some of them. Like, okay, these 3 are going to specifically not be that good. These 2 are going to be okay, and then the other 2 are going to be on your ass the entire time. So, I'm actually starting to...
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I'm starting to get some space on this one. I don't know. It kind of looks like they're scuffling back there. You see their 2 dots are, like, basically on top of each other. LA just doesn't really give you a lot of space to do that. But thankfully, I just know LA very well. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Hecky. You would think Travis Pastrana would be in second every time, but he's not. He's usually in 4th or 5th. And this is also... The Master Series are the only ones that you'll see him. It's the same guys for the Supercross and Motocross series, even though there's other riders that they could have used. They decided, now we'll just have the same people in both for the Masters. Just like, it's whatever. Thankfully, I'm getting away from them here, so... Denver should be pretty safe. Like I said, Denver... There's always those tracks, like, you know, if you play a... Like, I'm sure anybody who's, like, played this game or plays, like, any kind of racing game would know, like, there's tracks that you'll do that you know that you'll do really well on them. And you know that you can probably do much better at beating the AI on them. You know, this is one of those for me. But stuff like San Francisco and Daytona, I don't feel as confident on, but thankfully, those are both closer to the end, so I have a chance to get a lot more points before those. Now we move on to Phoenix again. Which Phoenix can be a little rough, at least off the start. That's kind of the hardest part, is just getting away from the pack. I also said I had the names up so I could pay attention, but I didn't know who actually finished second in that race. And he tried to just throw me off the track, which, you know, that's why we don't like Chad Reed.
That's not nice.
Yeah, he's trying to throw me off the track. And, like, I understand that it's part of the game, you know. Make another outdated movie reference, rubbing is racing, but And this is not gonna go... Okay, I'll be fine. Oh. This track's a little harder to get ahead on as well, but I still feel confident enough to get past him. Oh no. Here we go. Actually, I'm still ahead. So I got knocked off my bike there, but I'm still ahead. Normally, when that happens, that happened to me. Oh, he almost did it again. Sometimes that happens, and then you'll just end up behind. Thankfully, I'm still holding second, which I can live with for now. Though, obviously, in a perfect world, I'm winning all of these. So, which, you know, I'm 2 for 2 on winning all of the races across my 2 runs I've completed. So, I don't want to break that streak now. Hopefully he's not going to be right on me again. Because it seems like for some reason, like if you end up getting that close and you're both going kind of fast, the game just decides who it'll throw off. It doesn't really make much sense. Like sometimes like you'll go, like somebody, you'll basically T-bone someone, but it'll knock you off and they'll be completely fine. Or sometimes it'll decide that you both need to fall off and then you'll end up in 7th and 8th. And, you know. Thankfully, I was able to stay with the pack. Ezra Lusk not doing as hot this race, which is good, because he tends to do a little bit better than Chad Reed on most of these tracks. I almost crashed there. That wouldn't have been good. I can't do a kickflip. I can do something close to a kickflip. Not really. I'll do a couple tricks, though. Yeah, there's tricks in this game, but... funny thing, if you do a bunch of tricks during these races... you'll get a specific email from like your team manager, like, "Hey, you need to stop doing tricks because that's not safe." And it's funny because like the subject line when you see it in your PDA is, "So you think you're in the circus," which I used to think was hilarious. And my brother and I used to think that was hilarious when we were younger because he would always say it in some stupid funny voice. But so you can't do a lot of tricks. The PDA, that is correct. I always forget there's tricks during the races. I just kind of focus in on going faster. Game did come out in 2004, so PDA was what we were working with. And thankfully I've won.
Only a few more years later, would have gotten iPhones.
Yeah. All right, 16 and 15. That's actually really good. So even if I get last, I'm gonna at least be a race ahead. So we're in St. Louis again. Weirdly, it puts St. Louis ahead of Indianapolis, even though it would have been it's been ahead of it every other time. This one is the first one where it's a little closer on whether I'm going to win. But so you'll actually see me riding with the pack a little bit here.
Did you get the secret tape yet?
Not quite. Unfortunately, the out-of-bounds trigger for that is really hard to get to. Ezra Lusk actually kind of ahead here. Those little bumps love to mess with you. And like these turns are where the AI really starts to get me, because like those turns are kind of weird to hit. Like, you have consecutive, like, okay, you got to steer this far left and then immediately overcorrect and turn this far right, which is kind of annoying. Because for some reason, I have the habit of wanting to handbrake those turns, just kind of like make a really bad attempt at drifting around them, but you know, it is what it is. And again, like these turns are just a little too. It feels like they're like not wide enough. Like I should have a little bit more space. Do you see like my guy's like putting his foot on the ground? That jump could have gone better. As you saw, like I lost almost a second to the guy in second just because I messed that jump up. Like he probably hit it almost perfectly and was right on my tail. A little bit of space to stay ahead now. So yeah, this is kind of how the leaderboard usually looks, like how it is now. This is pretty standard. And as you can see, poor Jamie Dobb there in last place is just not even on the track anymore. He's just fighting for his life.
I was looking at that. I was like, man, Jamie's like forever behind.
Yeah, I don't. Like I said, I feel like if they were all kind of like, I feel like the reason why they did it is just so that you would have to still play well, because you know if the same guys are getting 7 points or 10 points if you're getting second, then you know you have to actually worry about it. But if everyone's at the same skill, then everyone's going to be getting a random number of points, where you're still going to be getting first or second, and you're just going to cruise ahead. I don't know. Maybe in MTX Mototrax 2 they'll fix that. Come in probably.
He now.
Yeah, come in at some point maybe. I know everybody wants remasters of like every game that came out back in this era, but I feel like this game would be nice to remaster. Actually, like I'm looking over, it's like it looks better on the stream than it does on my monitor. I don't know why. Like I had to change my resolution. I usually run this game a little bit better, but I had to change it for the purposes of the marathon. It just looks a little grainy. Stream it looks fine. I mean, I guess I can't complain that much because this game did come out 18 years ago. Alright, so that's really good to see. Chad Reed had 22, which is nice. And that's exactly what I was talking about earlier. I kind of slipped on my trigger and hit the gate, and so I bonked it. So now we get to fight through the pack again. But hey, this at least will make it interesting. Get out of my way, dude. Move. It seems like the AI just kind of work together to make sure that you're not going to get in first. That was some nice AI there, Ezra Lusk going completely off the track, as well as Chad Reed crashing. Watching the AI mess up on the high level is fun to see. It makes me feel a little better when I'm behind watching the AI struggle. Because it's one of those things, like I remember these AI being treacherous when I was younger, but when I came back to start running Supercross %, I was like, okay, you know, this is going to be, you know, I'm actually going to be fighting to get first. And then I won every race in this series, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of disappointed. I thought this was going to be harder. But it's just one of those
things. We're bad at video games when we're kids. But we're also good at video games when we're kids, too.
Yeah, because there's some things, like, you'll get as a kid, and then it's like, how did I do that? And there's some things like, yeah, I can...
That makes sense.
Yeah, like, I can... There's tons of moments like that. This game doesn't have too many of them. This was... Like, the motocross was a lot worse for me when I was younger, I recall, but Supercross, I enjoy these tracks a lot more, and I played them a lot more. Chad Reed is doing very well at staying in first place. Lucky for him. Oh, he almost went off the track. That'd have been great. I was a little squirrely when I was riding on that, but thankfully we're still here. I'll accept a second place, but I won't be happy about it, so I'm going to try to get in the first. And obviously, realistically, if you're getting second place, you're going kind of slow, because you're not in first.
Straight up bump into him.
Yeah.
Fuck it away.
Yeah, he needed to move. And he did it to me earlier, so he kind of deserved it. These AI like to do that a lot, even though I spoke about how I don't care for realism in games like this. If that was the case, then probably both would have been tumbling. Seems like I'm starting to get some space on him, but we still have another lap. I'm actually...
You know what they call second place? First loser.
I think I should be good on this. Seems like they're starting to fight in second place, which, if they want to fight each other as opposed to me, then that works very well in my favor. AI don't tend to fight each other a lot, unfortunately. I think they like to fight me. I don't know if it's what I did, you know, if it's something I said to them, but they just decide if they can get to me, then they're going to take me out. Considering as long as I was in second, this is going a little better. Going better than I thought, being 12 seconds ahead almost.
Good man on the move. Damn.
Yeah. Got a point there. A lot. Yeah. I mean, who can remember every Super Bowl loser? People will remember every team that won. They probably won't remember every team that lost.
Unless it's your team.
Yeah. Yeah, then you carry that to the grave.
Oh yeah.
Something you gotta hold on to.
Don't worry.
Oh,
Twice over.
Twice over. Is that right?
Yeah, we should figure that out.
Carolina?
Yes.
Say, I thought you were in one of the Carolinas.
Yeah, I'm a Panthers fan.
Yeah, because
First one I could live with. Second one I pretended to.
it was the Broncos during that one, and then the
Patriots.
Yeah, of course.
Patriots one was an all-time classic.
Yeah, yeah, I was
Broncos one. Less so.
I mean, I was happy for Peyton Manning, but you know, I don't really have an allegiance towards a team. I just like watching, I just like watching a good game. That's how I view sports. Like there might be players or teams that I don't care for. Like I feel like Tom Brady's one of those people I just don't really care for him that much. But he's gonna put on a good game of football, then I suppose I can watch it.
Yeah, that's how for the most part. I just care more boy.
Yeah, and there's a thing as well. When the Falcons-Patriots Super Bowl was going on, I was at a party, and it was a house full of Falcons fans, so watching the 28-3 was pretty funny to watch in real time as everyone just kind of started losing hope as it went on. And I was just kind of sitting there like, yeah, I don't really care who wins, but you know.
I can only imagine it going from like hype beyond belief to like literally just crickets in the matter of like minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, still one of the... That's an all-time joke right there.
That's also an all-time classic.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how you manage that, but I'm not a professional football player, so...
That's why they get mean about it until the end. They'll get mean about it until like the end of the universe.
Apparently I'm not... Yeah, this is one of those tracks I struggle with on the Master Series. You see, I'm still in second place, which, you know, kind of rough. Talking about losers, apparently I'm struggling with it myself.
At least not losing the chat.
Well, that's pretty... Yeah, I'm glad you guys... I hope you guys are enjoying your time with me. You've had me for over an hour at this point, almost 2, so... Oh, I messed that jump up. Yeah, this, well, third lap's gonna be the comeback. Hopefully. Then we have 2 tracks after this one. I don't actually have any idea how I'm doing on pace. I looked over at the time. I don't know how I'm doing on pace. I feel like I'm behind, but... And I don't have my splits up either, so... I didn't want to think about it too much, honestly. I'm just trying to have a good time and provide content. And joy in the speed run. Yeah.
For charity.
Exactly, I don't...
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I don't need to worry that much about getting some PB. Hey, at least I'm now, you know, I'm in first place. If I hit these jumps well, I will stay in first place, which is what we want. Because that would basically seal a deal. This is one of those tracks, like, if you won everything up to this point, basically after San Francisco, if you have 60 points, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. Because if second place got 7 points every time, they would be at 42. Which, you know, if you got third place on either of the next 2 races, you'd be fine. That's rough. Please, please, please. That's not good. That's not good. Alright, well. Second place it is. I'm not happy about it, but... First time I've thrown a race in one of these runs. It had to be San Francisco. But thankfully we could put that behind us, and we're on to Daytona, which the AI struggle with more, so... Because I struggle in San Francisco, but the AI struggle in Daytona, so... The guy was also right in my head for a good 20 feet. It kind of threw him off the track a little bit, too, but... Yeah, it still should be good. This run will definitely finish. Because that's one of those things, like, you're supposed to get first place. I guess really how I thought about it is, like, if I didn't get first place, then we would have been sitting here for a little longer. Can I stop falling off of the road? That would be great.
San Fran is cringe no matter the game. Pretty much.
Yeah. I think of Pro Skater 4 more just because I'm not good at that game. And I kind of messed it up in Thug Pro.
And the fact you had to play Streets twice today, unfortunately.
Streets. Yeah, that is one of the levels in Pro Skater 1. But think about it as well, y'all. You get to play Warehouse twice too. I don't know how. I mean, I don't speedrun the first. Is that better? I don't speedrun the first game, so I guess I don't know if that's good.
It can't be done.
Dad said I can't watch the Daytona race because my shirt still has sleeves attached.
Reference?
I don't know. Also, Ezra Lusk smacked into one of these. I don't know what these things are supposed to be on the side of the track here. These, like, they look like bricks, but they're, like, not made out of something else. I don't know what they're supposed to be. But basically, what I'm saying is he crashed into him, and now I'm in I'm in first place. This race has been a little rough, but I'm still in first. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Wrapped up hay, something. Tim Ferry's in 4th place. That's interesting. That doesn't happen much. Normally he likes to sit near the bottom 3, but he's doing a great job. Might actually get some points for himself. That's good. I'm also starting to pull ahead a lot. I don't know what happened. Probably the AI tumbling over its own shoelaces. Even though I don't think these boots have shoelaces, but... I think I finally hit that jump well. Alright, I gotta finish this quick so Tim Ferry will actually get some points. Gotta do it for our boy Tim. There you go, you got 2 points. Oh, Mike Brown got one earlier. I didn't notice that either. Alright. So now we're back to Atlanta. This is the last race of the series, of the run. I did it again. I get too trigger happy. I jumped on it. These splits don't really make a difference which one you hit. I've noticed the other run does the left split. Like the other person who's run this does the left split. I don't think it really matters. They're basically the same. It's just one you go left, one you go right. Either way, you have to crank a fucking 90-degree turn back to where you're going anyway.
Well, the AI, you just kind of do it.
Yeah, the AI just kind of go where they want. Sometimes off the track, but not enough. Not enough, unfortunately. Travis Pastrana at least competing this time. I guess something I've noticed now that I was looking at Travis Pastrana, just kind of a detail. I don't know if you guys really can't see it that well, but like the number plate on the bike right there, for some reason, there's like those little like black backgrounds to the numbers on them. I don't know why. It looks really dumb. I think that's just a PC problem. I don't remember it being a thing on console. I'm pretty sure on console the numbers are like actually black and they sit on it, but for some reason it's not like that on here. And then on the other people's bikes, they actually sit on there correctly. And they also get cool jerseys, but like the way that the text is on the jerseys on this, it's the same way with all of them that you buy, which is really lame. But like they all look like they were glued on there. They don't actually look like they were like, put on there very well. Now I'm starting to get my lead a bit. Getting into the groove that I like to be in Atlanta. We're almost done. Bringing a tear to my eye. We're almost done. Doesn't feel like I've been going
power
for
hours. Yeah,
doesn't feel like I've been going that long. This game, for as long as this run is, it kind of blends all together in a way, so it doesn't feel like I've been doing it for an hour 20. Fortunately, I looked over at the time. I believe a PB is not going to happen. I believe I made too many mistakes, but still a pretty good run altogether. Coming up on our last lap soon. Oh. After the last lap will be time, I'll call that for you. Guess it might still be possible. Very close.
Yeah, but I say I'm kind of eyeing it. And I'm like,
It's gonna be very close.
if you ball out or bike out,
It's gonna be like a second or two, which is hilarious. Because you would think with as much variance as happened, like with as many times as I've crashed and as many times that I have been, you know, falling off the track, which also slows you down a lot.
what you're saying is for your world record.
Yeah, I really am. If somebody wants to do that, then it's available. Honestly, same thing with my Thug Pro run earlier. That run is up for grabs. I'm the only person who's submitted for that specific category, so kind of just falling into my lap because of principle. Which I'll take the free points at the end of the day, but alright, we're coming down to the wire here. The last section of Atlanta. It'll be just a few seconds.
Pause change.
Time.
1:25:17.
Damn, that's a second behind.
Oh, no.
1 second behind my PB. That's for as many times as I messed up. That was still pretty good.
I mean, I might. You could probably go ahead and retime it. I might have started a little late and
Yeah,
a little,
I'll probably
and a little
will.
late.
So this is
You
what we
might
get.
Find out you tied it.
This is our prize for winning. We get this really low quality girl kissing us while we hold the trophy. So
And you're not carrying because you have a trophy.
yeah. So one thing we get for completing that, we unlock the Maggot, who is the Slipknot rider. Let me load a separate save. I want to show off some stuff. Just a couple things. So, like I said, I believe I've done everything on this one. I have. So yeah, this is for Supercross. We get the Slipknot 250cc. Since Slipknot calls their fans maggots, looks pretty neat. It looks really cool. For completing motocross, you unlock the Speed Demon. I don't think the girl actually rides with him, but pretty neat. His tattoos are pretty sick. But here's the one that everybody's going to like. For completing all of the free ride courses, for completing and getting through those and unlocking the last freestyle level, you get Officer Dick in this game.
Hell yeah.
This was the first game I actually saw Officer Dick in. I didn't know he was even a Tony Hawk thing until much later on. And then for another way of reminding yourself that this game is old, for completing the X Games, which is the last freestyle, you get the Nokia Trickbot, which is really neat. Yeah, Officer Dick, he rides the Police 250. It looks pretty nice. I remember I rode around with Officer Dick a lot when I was younger because I thought it was really funny. Yeah, that's MTX Mototrax. That's Supercross percent. It was a blast playing this for you guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Of course, there are many more runs to come. So stay tuned for those. I stream. It's been on the screen. Twitch.tv/HCoop. I've been playing American Wasteland a lot recently. I was working on normal story. I'm going to be tackling Sick next, which is going to be a task and a half. But I figured I did normal, so I'm up to doing Sick. Aside from that, that's really all I've got.
Well, GG's. Very, very much appreciate you coming out at HCoop.
Yeah, I've had a blast.
It was fun. It was fun.
Much fun.
Coming up next, his block is over, but we have another block coming in from Zen Ivan. He has 2 runs. We have, going back to another bike game, we have Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX, 80%. And after that, we have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Can't stay on bikes forever, guys. This is a Tony Hawk marathon. So we gotta go back to skateboards eventually. Yeah. Hope you guys are keep on enjoying, keep on watching, and we'll be back in a few minutes.